Hey, good morning. I know it's a little bit after 9, but that's because we had customers in here this morning already taking advantage of some of the stuff that we've been talking about. But as usual, welcome to Truck Talk Thursdays with Thurston. And today, short and sweet, we're going to follow up a little bit on what we were talking about last week, and that is goal planning. Goal planning. So we're going to be working on that today. We've got, as I'm sure most businesses do, you get to the end of the year and you wrap up how your 2017 was, and you start planning for 2018. And a lot of that has to do with goals and budgets and how many jobs you're going to get and how much money per job you need to make and all that kind of stuff. We talked a little bit last week about the what's important now. Having three goals that you want to try to accomplish so that you don't get really too unfocused. It's nice to have long-term goals and that kind of stuff, but if you look at the what's important now, three things that you can really knock off your list, we found that to be the most successful. And so we're going to share our goals with you guys next week. We actually have our final meeting tomorrow where we'll meet as a team and go over everything and put some hard concrete numbers together and then publicly and internally share those goals and things that we want to hopefully accomplish this year. Where I'm going with this today is how we can help you do that. We talk about this every year around January, where we do what's called a fleet analysis, where we will come out and meet with you and your team. And what we try to do is help you manage your fleet a little bit. And we can do that in several different aspects. It's, the most common one that we get involved with is just helping you know when it's time to replace a vehicle and helping you get, and I'm going to have to trademark this, the right truck at the right price at the right time. And we can do that, and we do that now with several of our larger fleet customers through this fleet analysis. So what we'll do is we'll get a list of your vehicles and what year they are, make, miles, what they're used for is very important. And then if you don't already have a cycle of when you're going to replace those, then we work with you on when is the right time to replace that. When are service bills getting higher than what it would cost to replace it? So those are some of the things that we take into effect. The other thing that we help with is if we have that list and we know, let's say, Mr. Customer, you have 10 vehicles and you're going to replace 2 of them this year. And the 2 that you're going to replace are, I don't know, let's say you're going to replace a cargo van and you're going to replace an Isuzu low cab forward, crew cab. Well, then what we do as a team is we keep a list of those. And on the Isuzu side, those incentives are easy. They only change every 6 months. However, on the GM side, with those changing monthly, what we do is we monitor those incentives. So let's say, Mr. Customer, and this just happened, I'll give you a perfect example, so this is not hypothetical. I have a customer, we sat down the other day, we talked about, they have 10 vehicles they're going to replace this year. They give us a list of those vehicles, and we go ahead and we price those out. Well, one of the items that was on there was a cargo van, an express cargo van. Well, it just so happened that this was something they just, not in a hurry to replace, but we still had 2 2017s left that up until the 15th of January had an additional incentive on it that saved them an additional $2,000. So here's an instance where they're going to replace a van, not in a huge hurry for it, but they know they've identified it and going to replace it this year. By us sitting down and having that conversation with them, we were able to replace that van a little early, but saving them over $2,000. Now, that's just in incentives. And then you take that times tax, you're saving the extra 7% off that as well. So that's what we try to do. There's a lot of places you can go and just sit in and say, hey, I need a truck and I need a car. But we try to be a little bit different. And let us help you manage those incentives, manage your fleet. GM now has, through their GM Financial, through that department, has some options for fleet services where they can help manage the service aspect of that. And we'd love to talk to you about that. On the Isuzu side, we have priority service maintenance plans that a lot of our customers are taking advantage of because A, it saves you money. B, especially if you're leasing or you buy and want to trade it in at a certain point in time. We monitor all the service records on there. You pay for the service plan now, but the service price doesn't go up in year 2, 3, 4, and 5 because you've already paid for it. So saves you money, helps the resale value of it because we know that it's been properly cared for and maintained, and we have a complete service record of that. And so you win both ways around. And again, and I think I've mentioned this in a previous truck talk, but I don't care if it's Chevy, GM, Ford, Isuzu, Dodge, it doesn't matter. If you take care of the vehicle and you service it, and this goes for you just driving your own personal vehicle, it will last you longer. I've asked specifically, we were just out in California and was talking to the service team out there from Isuzu, and I asked them, what percentage of your service issues do you think would go away with just proper routine maintenance and following the guidelines that the manufacturer sets out in the book? And without hesitation, he said 80%. Man, think about that. There's a reason why that Chevy vehicle lasts the way it does, because first 2 service visits are free. A lot of times on the Chevy side, especially if it's just a personal one and you're leasing it, we offer an extended service contract because we know that if it's a lease and you're coming in, we offer a service contract for years 2 and 3. Helps the trade-in value. But more important, we know we're getting a properly maintained vehicle with service records that when we go to sell it to you or to you, you know that you're getting something that's been properly cared for and maintained, and it lasts. You don't have those big issues. On the Isuzu side, there's a reason why those trucks have a average life on those engines of 375,000 miles, and that's because they're properly cared for and maintained. So as long as you follow those guidelines and you do that, you're going to get much more out of your vehicles. And like I said, I don't care if it's a Chevy or an Isuzu, proper maintenance, following the guidelines that are laid out in those books will help the longevity of that vehicle and what we call total cost of ownership. Okay, it's a reason why on that Chevy side we give you the first 2. We want you to get used to the service schedule coming in when that light comes on, or at 6,000 miles, or if it's a diesel a little bit later, to come in and get that thing maintained and get a routine of having your service done. And not just changing the oil, but, for example, on those Chevys, when it comes in, it's not just an oil change. We rotate the tires. We do a 27-point inspection. It's a great opportunity for us to find out if there's something else going on with it, especially while it's still under warranty. So definitely encourage you to take advantage of that, especially on the Chevy side when they're free. On the Isuzu diesel trucks, those come with the first 60,000 miles of service, oil changes. Definitely come in and take advantage of those. And on those, every time they come in, you get a health report for free. And if you're not familiar with that, boy, you really ought to come in and talk about that. And let us show you a little bit about what that health report is. So So again, just kind of recapping. As January is about halfway through, and hopefully you've got your goals set and you've looked at, what you and your team are trying to accomplish this year, what you personally are trying to accomplish this year, and you've set those down. Remember from last week, a goal's not a goal unless you write it down, share it with someone, set a date that you want to have it accomplished by, and then a celebration. If you're not doing those 4 things, then you need to reevaluate how you're setting those goals. Now take those goals and see how folks can help you with them. And again, that's what we're trying to hope that you'll reach out to us right now. Give us a call and let us come in and sit down with you and do a fleet analysis. It will help you get a better understanding of where you are with your vehicle needs. We ask questions like, okay, not only are you going to replace this one this year, but let's look about it. Okay, you bought this truck 5 years ago, and you're telling me that it's used for this. Is that still what it's used for? And if so, is that the right vehicle for that? Just because you bought it 5 years ago and we're using it for this, doesn't mean you replace it with the same thing. Now, you know your business better, but we're going to ask some questions that maybe you don't think about. Like, well, I never thought about when we bought this, it was used for, a water crew, and now our hardscape guys are using it. So no, we don't need a flatbed. Maybe now we need a dump body. Or when we first bought it, we had 6 guys going out, and now we only have 2 in there. Maybe I don't need a crew cab this time. Maybe I just need a regular cab. Those are some of the questions we're going to ask. And then by knowing that, we can lay out a plan to where you don't wake up one day and say, I need to replace 10 vehicles. A lot of times that's not very cost effective and you're not able to do it. So you keep spending money on service, trying to keep things up and running. And don't get me wrong, my service department loves it and we're happy to do that. But there comes a line where putting all that money into it just doesn't get you the return on it. You're better off putting that money back and reinvesting it into a new one. So let's try to do that. So my goal is to get a couple of you to reach out, see this today, and come back and say, you know what, I want to take advantage of that fleet analysis this year. And as I mentioned, it's free. And even if you don't buy anything from us, take advantage of it. Let us come in and introduce ourselves and our team and how we do things a little bit different. The fleet analysis, we're going to ask you those questions. We'll go over some recommendations. We'll look at what you hope to replace this year, and we'll monitor those incentives through GM, and we'll look at them every month. And if something doesn't make sense this month and you're still good with it, come February, we'll look at it again and run the numbers again. So let us help you manage that fleet this year. Give us a call and let us come in and do a fleet analysis. If you need help setting those goals and stuff, it's things that we've been doing for a long time. We'd love to help you with that. We'll give you some ideas. So how do you do that? Reach out to us, 317-770-1090 or 317-774-7574. You can call my cell phone at 317-439-2867. You can put a comment down here. You can message us. You can send a LinkedIn, a tweet, email at thurston@hairauto.com. Anything you want to do, just let us know. Reach out. Stop by. We'd be happy to help you get your business up and running and keep you moving. And again, our motto here at the Hair Truck Center is we want to get you in the right truck at the right time for the right price. Doing that fleet analysis and helping with those goals and stuff is something that's going to allow you to do that, and we'd be happy to work with you to help you accomplish those goals this year. We hope you have a great day. Thanks for tuning in to Truck Talk Thursdays with Thurston. Tune in next week where we're going to announce publicly some of our goals and share them with you to help you to help show how the accountability thing goes. So as I mentioned earlier, we have some lofty goals that we're going to set, and we're going to need your help to accomplish some of those goals. So we look forward to hearing from you, and have a great and blessed day. Thank you.